First contact and fatal miscalculation. The UEA's Defiant cut through the darkness of deep space like a knife through silk, its quantum engines humming with power that defied the conventional laws of physics. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the massive view screen that dominated the forward bulkhead. Stars streaked by as the most advanced vessel in Earth's fleet pushed deeper into unexplored territory. "Status report," she said, her voice carrying the quiet authority that had earned her this command. Commander Jackson Chen looked up from his station. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're approaching the coordinates where the probe detected the anomaly." Elena nodded. The anomaly, a massive structure that shouldn't exist this far from any known civilization, had been discovered by an automated deep space probe 3 months ago. The images it sent back before going silent had puzzled Earth's best scientists and prompted this expedition. "Slow to approach speed," Elena ordered, "and bring up the tactical display." The view screen shifted, showing a three-dimensional representation of the space ahead. At first glance, it appeared empty, but as the sensors penetrated the quantum distortion field surrounding the area, a massive structure began to take shape on the display. "My God," breathed Dr. Sarah Okafor, the ship's chief scientist. "It's even bigger than the probe indicated." The structure was a ring, but unlike anything humans had built. It spanned nearly the diameter of Earth's moon, constructed of a material that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Around its circumference, smaller structures clustered like barnacles on the hull of a ship. "Any signs of life?" Elena asked. "Detecting significant energy signatures," replied Lieutenant Maya Wei from the sensor station. "And movement. There are ships, Captain. Dozens of them." Elena straightened her uniform. "Yellow alert. Shields at maximum, but weapons on standby only. We're here to make contact, not start a war." The bridge crew tensed as the Defiant moved closer to the massive ring. On the tactical display, several of the alien vessels broke formation and began heading toward them. "They're fast," Commander Chen observed. "Configuration unlike anything in our database." "Open all standard communication frequencies," Elena ordered. "Universal greeting protocol." Communications Officer Raj Patel nodded, his fingers dancing across his console. "Broadcasting now, Captain." The alien ships approached with precision that spoke of advanced navigation systems and experienced pilots. They formed a perfect hexagon around the Defiant, maintaining a distance that could be closed in seconds if hostilities began. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Wei reported. "Standard electromagnetic sweeps, nothing invasive." Elena nodded. "Let them look. We have nothing to hide." The standoff continued for several minutes before Officer Patel straightened in his seat. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. Computer is processing the language now." The view screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. The being had iridescent scales covering skin the color of burnished copper. 4 eyes, 2 large primary ones, and 2 smaller ones above them, blinked independently of each other. When it spoke, a thin membrane vibrated over what must be its breathing apparatus. "Vessel of unknown origin," the computer translated, the alien's words appearing as text beneath its image. "You have entered sovereign territory of the Zerani Empire. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Elena stepped forward. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth ship Defiant. We are explorers from the planet Earth, seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent species. We detected your impressive structure and came to investigate." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern. "Earth, we have no record of this world or its species. Your vessel's design is unusual." "We are new to this region of space," Elena explained. "This is our first journey beyond our neighboring star systems." The aliens seemed to consider this. "I am Fleet Commander Vexar of the Zerani Imperial Guard. Your arrival is unexpected. Our protocols require a thorough scan of all unknown vessels entering our territory." Elena glanced at Commander Chen, who gave a slight nod. Standard procedure for first contact situations was to allow basic scans as a show of good faith. "We understand," Elena replied. "You may proceed with your scan, Commander Vexar. We have nothing to hide." Vexar's breathing membrane fluttered, perhaps their version of acknowledgement. "Prepare for scan. Do not engage any systems or weapons during this process." The transmission ended, and the bridge crew exchanged glances. Chief Engineer Cato, Elena called over the comm system. "They're going to scan us. Standard first contact protocols." "Understood, Captain," came the reply from engineering. "All systems will remain passive, but I should note that our quantum core will register as unusual to any conventional scanning technology." "Let's see what they make of us," Elena said, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The scan began with a soft blue light washing over the hull of the Defiant. At first, it seemed like any standard technological assessment, but then the intensity increased. The light deepened to a pulsing purple as the Zirani scanners dug deeper into the ship's systems. "Captain," Lieutenant Wee said with alarm, "their scan is penetrating our outer defensive layers. They're accessing core systems data." Commander Chen stood. "That goes beyond any acceptable first contact protocol." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Chief Cato, initiate protocol Firewall Omega. Limited data only." "Too late, Captain," came Cato's voice. "They've already seen the quantum core architecture and our adaptive defense grid. They've pulled schematics on the neural interface systems, and, damn it, they got a piece of the Lazarus protocol data." The purple scanning beam abruptly cut off. On the tactical display, the Zirani ships began backing away at high speed. "They're retreating," Commander Chen said in disbelief. "No," Elena replied, watching the display with narrowed eyes. "They're running." The alien vessels accelerated to tremendous speed, breaking their perfect formation in their haste to put distance between themselves and the Defiant. "Captain," Officer Patel reported, "we're receiving another transmission. Audio only." "Put it through." Commander Vexar's voice filled the bridge, the translation software struggling to keep up with the rapid, agitated speech. "Defiant vessel, maintain your position. Do not approach the ring. The Imperial Council will consider your presence. Any aggressive movement will be considered an act of war." Before Elena could respond, the transmission cut off. "What the hell just happened?" Commander Chen asked. Dr. Okafor stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. "They saw something in our systems that frightened them. Badly." "The quantum core," Elena suggested. "Perhaps," Dr. Okafor replied. "Or perhaps the Lazarus protocol. To a species that has never encountered it, the implications would be significant." Elena turned to the tactical display. The Zirani ships were now small points of light, retreating toward the massive ring structure. "Options. We could leave," Commander Chen suggested. "Complete the first contact report and let Earth decide how to proceed." "No," Elena said firmly. "They know about us now, and they're scared. That makes them unpredictable. We need to understand why. The Lazarus protocol was never meant to be a weapon," Dr. Okafor said quietly, "but I suppose to an outside observer it might appear that way." Elena nodded slowly. "Follow them, but maintain a respectful distance. Let's see what they do next." For 3 days, the Defiant shadowed the Zirani fleet back to the ring structure. Activity around the massive installation increased dramatically upon their arrival, ships moving in and out, energy signatures fluctuating. "They're having quite the discussion about us," Commander Chen observed. "Captain," Officer Patel called out. "Incoming transmission from the ring." The view screen activated to show not Commander Vexar, but a different Zirani. This one's scales were lighter, almost gold in color, and adorned with intricate metallic patterns that suggested high rank. "I am High Chancellor Zorav of the Zirani Imperial Council," the alien began. "Your presence has caused considerable concern among our leadership." Elena inclined her head respectfully. High Chancellor, I assure you we came with peaceful intentions. Perhaps, Zorev replied. Yet your vessel contains technologies that should not exist. The quantum entanglement core, the adaptive shield matrix, the neural integration systems, and most concerning, the cellular reconstruction protocol your data calls Lazarus. Elena kept her expression neutral, but inwardly she cursed the thoroughness of the Zerani scan. Our technologies reflect our approach to exploration and self-preservation. They are not weapons of aggression. Zorev's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. The Council requests a meeting with you, Captain Reyes, a neutral location, halfway between your current position and the ring. We have matters to discuss. I would be honored to meet with the Council, Elena replied. When and where? Coordinates are being transmitted now, Zorev said. Come alone in one of your shuttlecraft. Bring no weapons. After the transmission ended, Commander Chen immediately objected. Captain, this is clearly a trap. Probably, Elena agreed. But it's also an opportunity. They're terrified of us. Yet they're inviting me to talk instead of attacking outright. That tells me something about their culture. What if they attempt to capture you? Learn our secrets? Dr. Okafor asked. Elena smiled grimly. Then they'll learn one more thing about humans. We plan for every contingency. The revelation and humanity's stance. The neutral meeting point was a small, barren asteroid that had been hastily equipped with atmosphere containment fields. Captain Elena Reyes guided the shuttle toward the designated landing zone, noting the significant Zerani presence already assembled. 6 ships surrounded the asteroid, their weapon systems visibly powered down. A gesture of good faith, or perhaps confidence in their numerical advantage. Approaching final coordinates, Elena reported to the Defiant. Maintain communication protocols as discussed. Understood, Captain, came Commander Chen's voice. Remember at the first sign of trouble. I know the plan, Commander, Elena interrupted gently. Rise out. The shuttle settled onto the asteroid's surface with a soft thud. Elena checked her equipment one final time. Standard uniform, no visible weapons, but with several hidden surprises should things go poorly. The neural implant at the base of her skull, standard for all UES captains, pulsed once, confirming active connection to both the shuttle systems and, at extreme range, the Defiant itself. She cycled through the airlock and stepped onto the asteroid's surface. A temporary structure had been erected ahead, glowing with internal lights. 3 Zerani stood waiting, their scales reflecting the stars above in hypnotic patterns. Captain Reyes, the central figure said, stepping forward. It was High Chancellor Zorev. You show courage coming here alone. Or perhaps trust. Elena countered with a slight smile. Shall we proceed? The interior of the structure was a simple meeting room with a round table at its center. 2 more Zerani waited inside, one wearing elaborate technological attachments that marked it as some kind of scientist, the other dressed in military regalia similar to Commander Vexar's. The Imperial Council, Zorev introduced them. Scientific Director Mexiv and War Commander Kazor. We represent the leadership of an empire spanning 27 star systems and over 40 worlds. Elena inclined her head respectfully. Impressive. Earth has only colonized 3 other planets in our home system, though we have outposts in neighboring systems. Yet your technology exceeds ours in several critical areas, Scientific Director Mexiv said, its voice higher-pitched and rapid. Impossible. Contradictory. Your species should not have such advancements without the infrastructure of a multi-system civilization. Elena seated herself at the table. Perhaps we should discuss what exactly your scan discovered that caused such alarm. Clear communication will serve us both better than assumptions. The 3 Zerani exchanged glances, their 4 eyes blinking in complex patterns that suggested some form of nonverbal communication. Very well, Zorev finally said. Director Mexiv, explain what you found. The scientific director activated a holographic display in the center of the table. Images of the Defiant's internal systems appeared, focusing first on the engine room. Your propulsion system uses quantum entanglement principles our theorists have only begun to conceptualize, Mexiv explained. The energy output is beyond anything we can achieve, yet the system is remarkably compact. The display shifted to show the Defiant's defensive systems. Your shields adapt to incoming energy signatures in real time, a technology we believed impossible given the processing requirements. And your structural integrity is maintained by molecular bonds that self-repair. Elena nodded. All true, though I'm surprised your scan detected so much detail. We are thorough, War Commander Kazor rumbled. But it was not these technologies that caused our concern. The hologram changed again, this time showing human DNA alongside what appeared to be medical data. It was this, Mexiv said, voice dropping to almost a whisper. The Lazarus Protocol. Your crew members have been genetically modified at the cellular level. Your bodies contain nanites that interface directly with your central nervous systems. And most disturbing, the image zoomed in on a complex molecular structure. You have developed a means of preserving and transferring consciousness. Ah, Elena thought. Now we come to it. The implications are clear. War Commander Kazor stated flatly. Your species has achieved functional immortality through technological means. Death is merely an inconvenience to you. High Chancellor Zorav leaned forward. Is this true, Captain Reyes? Can your people cheat death itself? Elena considered her words carefully. The Lazarus Protocol was mankind's greatest achievement, and its most closely guarded secret. That the Zirani had gleaned so much from a single scan was troubling, but perhaps also an opportunity. The Lazarus Protocol is not what you think, she began. It does not grant true immortality. Rather, it preserves the essential pattern of a human being. Memories, personality, consciousness, in the event of catastrophic injury or death. Under specific circumstances, that pattern can be restored. You transfer your consciousness to new bodies, Kazor said bluntly. You cannot be killed permanently. Elena shook her head. It's not that simple. The process has limitations and costs. It requires tremendous energy. It can only be performed under specific conditions, and it changes the individual in subtle but significant ways. Yet you have conquered the greatest fear of all sentient beings, Zorav said. The fear of ending. Do you understand what this means to a species like ours? Our entire civilization, our religions, our social structures, our approach to risk and conflict, all are built around the certainty of death. Now Elena understood their fear. A species that could not be destroyed permanently would upset the balance of power in any conflict. Traditional deterrence would be meaningless. You think we plan to conquer your empire, Elena stated. That we cannot be defeated, so resistance is futile. The evidence suggests this is your intention, Kazor said. Why else develop such technology? Why else send your ship to our territory? Elena leaned back in her chair, studying the three aliens. They were genuinely frightened, not just of human technology, but of what it represented to their understanding of the natural order. I think there's been a fundamental misunderstanding, she said finally. Humanity didn't develop the Lazarus Protocol as a weapon of war or a tool of conquest. We developed it because of who we are, explorers who refuse to accept limitations. She stood and walked around the table slowly. Throughout our history, humans have pushed boundaries. We've climbed mountains because they were there. We've crossed oceans because we wondered what lay beyond. We've reached for the stars not because it was easy, but because it was hard. The Lazarus Protocol isn't about cheating death. It's about ensuring that what we learn, what we discover, isn't lost when an individual dies. Yet it gives you tremendous military advantage, Kazor insisted. Any technology can be weaponized, Elena conceded. But that was never our intention. She turned to face all three Zirani directly. You saw our ship. You saw what we're capable of. If conquest was our goal, would we have come in a single vessel? Would we have allowed you to scan us? Would I be standing here now, alone, talking instead of fighting? The Zerani were silent for a long moment. "What are your intentions, then?" Zorev finally asked. "The same as they've always been," Alina replied. "To explore, to learn, to understand the universe and our place in it. And yes, to ensure humanity's survival, not at the expense of others, but alongside them." She pointed to the holographic display, still showing the complex molecular structures of the Lazarus Protocol. "You see this as a weapon. We see it as a responsibility. Those who can cheat death must be all the more careful with the lives of others." Scientific Director Mexiv's eyes blinked rapidly. "You speak of ethics, of restraint. Yet power corrupts. History shows this. History also shows that understanding leads to peace," Alina countered. "We came here to understand you, to learn from you, perhaps even to share with you, if trust can be established." War Commander Kazor stood abruptly. "This is a deception. They intend to infiltrate our empire, learn our weaknesses, then strike when we are vulnerable." "If that were true," Alina said calmly, "then why did I come to this meeting, knowing you had planted an electromagnetic pulse device under this very table?" The three Zerani froze. Kazor's hand moved toward a weapon at his side. "Don't," Alina advised. "I've known about it since I walked in. My neural implants detected the energy signature immediately. I could have disabled it, but I chose not to, as a show of good faith." She smiled slightly. "The device would have disrupted most electronic systems, perhaps even killed a biological entity heavily dependent on technology. But it wouldn't have affected me the way you hoped. The Lazarus Protocol is more resilient than that." High Chancellor Zorev's eyes narrowed. "How can we trust creatures who cannot die, who may live for centuries, accumulating knowledge and power while our generations pass like seasons?" "The same way all different species learn to trust each other," Alina answered, "through actions, not words, through shared interests and mutual respect." She returned to her seat at the table. "Here is the truth, High Chancellor. Humanity isn't interested in conquering your empire. We have our own challenges, our own frontiers to explore. But we are interested in learning from you, your history, your culture, your technology, your understanding of this region of space." "And what do we gain from this relationship?" Mexiv asked. "Knowledge, trade, cultural exchange, and yes, perhaps eventually, some of our technology, shared responsibly, with species ready to handle its implications." Zorev was silent for a long moment, its four eyes blinking in that complex pattern again. "You offer partnership where you could demand submission," the Chancellor finally said. "Either you are the most enlightened species we have encountered, or the most cunning." Elena laughed softly, "Probably a bit of both. Humans contain multitudes, Chancellor. We are capable of tremendous compassion and terrible cruelty, of great wisdom and foolish impulsiveness. What defines us is not our technology, but our choices." She leaned forward, meeting Zorev's four eyes with her too. "I choose to offer friendship between our peoples. I choose to respect your sovereignty and your customs. I choose to believe we can learn from each other without fear." She gestured to the hologram still floating above the table. "The Lazarus Protocol doesn't make us gods, Chancellor. It makes us responsible for the future we create, for the relationships we build, for the universe we shape together." The three Zerani conferred among themselves in their own language, the translator unable to keep up with their rapid exchange. Finally, Zorev turned back to Alina. "Captain Rais of Earth, you have given us much to consider. The Imperial Council will need time to discuss these matters fully." "Of course," Alina nodded. "Take the time you need. The Defiant will maintain its current position, outside the ring's defensive perimeter." As they rose to conclude the meeting, War Commander Kazor asked one final question. "If we had attacked your ship instead of running, what would you have done?" Elena met his gaze steadily. "We would have defended ourselves, effectively, but we would not have destroyed your civilization in retaliation. That's not who we are." She paused at the doorway. "Though I should mention, There are 12 more ships like the Defiant currently exploring different sectors of space, all with the same technology, all with the same mission, all with the same values. The implication was clear. Humanity was not to be trifled with, but neither were they conquerors. As Elena walked back to her shuttle under the infinite stars, she smiled to herself. First contact situations were always tricky, but this one might just lead to something extraordinary. Not because humans had conquered death, but because they had not allowed that conquest to change their fundamental nature. They remained explorers, seekers, dreamers, now with just a little more time to pursue their endless curiosity about the universe and all its wonders. Behind her, the Zirani watched in silence, witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in their empire's history, one shaped not by fear of the immortal humans, but by the possibilities their friendship might bring.